Morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, sound. Hi, Charlene, Cassandra, Luke. Hi, Anna. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Kay. Hi, Crate. One more. Hello, everyone. Today we're gonna talk about content creation. Um, we're gonna talk about creating content and growing audience. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Monique. Yeah. So, first of all, can everybody hear me? Can you just quickly put in the chat to everyone hear me clearly? Wow. Gold and behold, 12 a.m. in Singapore. Welcome. True night owl. Thank you, Umar Gabaju. I'm trying to get all the names. Hey, Sohel. Hi, Humble Design. Virginia Villa, UX with Hari. Hey, Gigi. Okay, cool. Everyone can hear me, so let's start. So yeah, if you have any questions about creating content or growing your Instagram, growing your social media, just put a question in the chat there. I want to start with this first. So the number one, okay, maybe let me ask you guys this. Put in the chat, what do you think is the number one most important thing is for social media? What is by far, if you don't do anything else, just one thing, right? What's the number one most important thing in content creation and growing an audience? Just put in the chat, everyone. I want to see if we're on the right track here. Hi, Sue Bowers. Hey, Sohel. Finding the niche, Sohel said. Okay, anyone else? Have a story. Be authentic. Creating value. Show up. Consistency. Posting consistency. Hey, Jenny. Engaging content. I took your Domestika course. It's on. Thank you, Dharma. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna say that consistency it's literally, honestly, I this is not just for content creation. It's pretty much everything in life. It's whether it's you're making content, you're starting a business, you're going to the trying to get fit, not giving up and keep going on is literally the reason why 99% of people fail, is because they give up. Now when I talk to people and somebody's like, I'll do a coaching call, or I'll talk to a client, and that client's like, oh, excited. He's like, oh, son, you know what? I am going to be consistent. I'm going to post content every day. Oh, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to do this every week. Honestly, I don't even believe them anymore. I when my clients tell me that, I'm like, okay, yeah, great. But then I just assume that they're not going to continue, because that's what's happened. It's so rare for me. I would say only about 1 out of 100 people who tell me that they're going to consistently post actually do it. The other 99% of them get all excited, and then 3 weeks later they stop. 6 weeks later they stop. It's literally the one thing that if you just did that alone, don't worry about your storytelling, don't worry about your niche, don't worry about how you look, don't worry about your design, don't worry if you don't worry about anything else, and just worry about consistently posting without quitting, that alone is going to make all the difference in the world. That's literally what everybody, that's the one thing that everybody has to do that nobody's doing. So it seems pretty simple, right? So yeah, that's what I would say. Don't worry about how often okay, there's another thing, right? When people think about consistency, now they start overthinking. Oh, what is consistent? Should I post every day? Should I post twice a week, 3 times a week? Should I post once a week? Doesn't matter. The problem is this, even people that say they're just gonna post once a week, they stop after 3 weeks. Even people they say that says, I'm gonna post once a month. Okay, fine. Then post once a month every month. But the problem is they don't even do that. So don't talk about posting every day, 3 times a week. Don't even talk about that until you can post once a month. Like, can you post once a month for a year? If you can't do that, then why bother even talking about how often? Why talk about when's the best time to post? Why talk about how to do storytelling? Why talk about the design? Why talk about niche? Why talk about any of that if you can't even post once a month? Like, you can't do the basics. Like, why are you talking about running and flying when you can't even crawl right now? First, learn how to crawl, and then learn how to walk, and then learn how to jog, and then learn how to run, and then learn how to fly. Like, you got to go in the right order. Okay, so let's go into some questions before I get too. I don't want to get too heated too early on, right? Okay. Hello, if you're just joining in, hello, good morning, good afternoon. Hi, Mochinix, Marketing FLA. What is the real content? How created? Yeah, can you put the questions in the question tab so we can keep track of it? Roha, Robin, hello. Meme, Mashal. Alan D's, hi. All right, Tabitha. Yes, keep it coming. Okay. Connect new way of content writing to make sense for my biz and audience I want to attract. Okay, let's see. Oh, sorry. I think I'm pulling up questions from I'm pulling up questions from the stories, so I need to go back. Okay. Oh, that's kind of interesting. When I pull up the questions, I see the questions that people submitted in the stories too. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Marketing FLA. What is valuable content? How to create it? Is it about sharing tips or hacks? Yeah, I guess you can provide value in different ways. I guess do you know what it is? I would think of it like, if you're building a personal brand on social media, maybe you have to think of it like this. Why do your friends want to hang out with you? Like, what value are you providing to your friends, right? Because they could be hanging out with other people or whatever it is, but they've chose to become friends with you, right? So obviously there's something, like, for example, for me, a lot of my friends, they hang out with me, and a lot of my closest friends are the ones where we just sit and we have these long, deep, 4-hour philosophical conversations with, right? That's what my friends love, right? So people who just want to, like, have small talk, chit chat, and talk about Kardashians, like, they're not interested in hanging out with me. Okay, so I think everybody has, like, some sort of a value they're providing to the world, and whatever that is, you can probably get a hint of that. You can probably start to see clues by looking at what you guys talk about with your friends, right? For example, like, some people, like, I love because they're so funny, right? I just love having them around because they're hilarious, and whenever that person's around, it's a good time, right? Some people might be just like, super intellectual, and I know that when I hang out with that person, I'm going to get some right answer. So I think everybody has, like, a different value that they provide. So whatever that is, kind of, you have to find what that is and provide it. For me, what I found out is that my value is making people think I never thought of it that way. So I guess I'm through making content. You know what's funny? Like, I've always made people say I've never thought of it that way, like, throughout my entire, like, career, right? But ever since I started making content and I started practicing content, I've gotten even better at that. Like, I've gotten better at making people say I never thought of it that way. And then once I started, like, trying to figure out how to teach other people how to do it, I got even better at it. Because, like, I feel like what I'm doing is, when I'm trying to break down and think about, okay, what is the thing that I'm doing that's making people say I never thought of it that way? And I'm trying to reverse engineer, and trying to break it down how my brain is working and what my brain is actually doing. It makes me realize, okay, oh, that's what I'm doing. And so through the process of teaching, it's actually making me more aware of, being actually better at that. And that's it's actually one of the number one. It's actually one of the things that I love the most about teaching, is that through the act of teaching and trying to become a better teacher, it's actually helping me learn. So and that's why I'm not interested in making a online course that's like pre-recorded online course and set and boom, set it, forget it, just sell it. I'm not interested in that, because then I'm never going to improve. Like, it's the act of teaching and getting feedback and going back and forth is where I'm learning, and is where I'm getting most of my value. So how's everyone doing today? Tabitha asks. Yeah, put in the chat, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Put in the chat, like, can you guys put in the chat where you're from and what time it is there, so everyone in the community can kind of meet each other. Okay, let's move on to the next question. I feel like whenever I'm on these live, I get so I feel like I'm always pressed for time, and I'm Sri from Houston, Texas. Ogulua. Not a boring day. Okay. Morocco, Washington, D.C., Dubai. Oh, literally all over the world. Portland, crushing it. L.A. Yeah. I'm originally from L.A. Fresno, California. Oh, another L.A. Maryland, Nigeria, New York. Awesome. Yeah, we have a pretty diverse community, huh? Pakistan, UK. It's literally everyone from, hey, Estrina from Indonesia, Marwan from Egypt, Hyderabad, Sohail from Hyderabad, India, Jenny from Colorado, Singapore, Tiffany, JCS from Janine Neheim, Oregon. Is that Oregon, like in the US? Haiti, India. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Kay from Florida, Yemen. Holy shit. Malaysia, like literally all over the world. I want to one day do like a retreat in all different parts of the world, so we can literally do a meetup with everyone in the community. Okay. Next question. The Drawing Bar. I offer a simple version of my service for free, and there is a long line of people wanting it. How do I make an offer for the people that are on the end of the line and would have to wait for a long time to get it? Simple version of my service. Okay, so it sounds like what needs to happen is I saw this video the other day. Hey Daniel, can you put the questions in the sticker tab so we don't lose it? Okay, so I was watching this video by Elon Musk, and where he talks about like the 5 steps that he takes, like whether it's like in SpaceX or Tesla. And one of the most interesting was that he says step 2 is to remove everything, because a lot of people, what they do is, well, I mean, this is unnecessary, I'm not going to go into that, but you can look it up. Like, just go on YouTube and search for Elon Musk 5 steps, and you'll see it. It's brilliant. But basically what needs to happen is you need to figure out how to provide your service one-on-one, right? And then figure out what are all the steps in there that's actually giving the success. Because the first time you do it, you're gonna do it wrong, and you're gonna do all these unnecessary things, and you're gonna have to try like 10 different things just to figure out which one works and things like that, right? And then step 2, you have to remove all those unnecessary things that doesn't work, right? And then you have to make sure that now you have to do it with 10 people to see what else you can remove, what to keep, and things like that. And then step 3, you have to optimize it. You have to optimize those things that that works. And then step 4, you need to make it faster. And then finally, step 5, you need to automate it. So the way I think of it is, doesn't matter what you're selling. Like step one is to do it one-on-one. If you want to create a course, you need to be able to teach person one-on-one and make, like, for example, you can't create a course on how to grow Instagram until you taught one person how to grow their Instagram. Okay. And once you've taught one person how to grow their Instagram, now you have to teach 10 people how to grow their Instagram, right? And then make sure like most of them get it. And then you have to teach 100 people how to do it. What a lot of people do, I think, is they grow their Instagram once, and then they just like, I'm going to make a course, I'm going to teach it. Like, what? Like, have you ever gotten one other person to actually grow their Instagram? If not, you should not be creating a course on it, right? So for you, what I would say is like, if you already been one-on-one service and now you made a simpler version, the next step is, okay, what is working in that simpler version so that you can make it, you can automate, a lot of it, so that you don't have to spend as much time and some of those things are automated. Or maybe what you need to do is you need to hire people and have them kind of, just look at your service and take everything that is that can be repeated, right? I think I heard this, I don't know who I heard this from, but someone said, if you're doing something repeatedly 3 times, okay, if you're doing something 3 times, what did you say? Anyway, I'm not gonna remember it. But if you're doing something 3 times, that means you have to figure out how to automate it. If you're doing the same exact task 3 times, so I mean, so you look at what you're doing and see what are those things, and you try to figure out how to automate it. Maybe that's your next step. Okay, sorry if I wasn't too helpful there. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Next question is from Sohail. Sohail, why consistency is important? I mean, it's okay. It's exactly the reason why consistency is important when you go to the gym, right? Here's the thing. Like, let's say you think about this, right? Let's say you spend 100 hours doing push-ups, okay? But imagine that both people did 100 hours of push-ups, but one person did like, it took them 10 years to do 100 push-ups, whereas in this other 100 hours of let's say you go to the gym for 100 hours. Person A, they went to gym for 100 hours over 10 years. Person B went to the gym for 100 hours over 100 days. Who do you think is going to see result, and who do you think is going to not see result, right? So I feel like almost everything in life needs consistency. Without consistency, what happens is, okay, in Instagram, this is why important. Number one, when you're consistently posting every day, you're just gonna get better. Like, you barely have to do anything. All you gotta do is just post, look at what you did wrong, and improve something small next time, and then post, look at what you did wrong, improve something small next time, and you just gotta keep doing that consistently, and you'll automatically get better, become a better content creator just by doing that. There's no way, for example, there's no way if you're trying to learn how to learn a language, if you speak that language every single day for an hour a day for 1,000 days, you're not going to get better, right? Same thing. If you write essay every single day for 1,000 days, you're going to get better. If you create content every single day for 1,000 days, you're going to become a dope content creator. No doubt about it. Okay. So number one, that's the reason why that's how you get better. Now, when I go back to my content from 6 months ago, what? One of the things I do is I go back. I always go back to 6 months later, 6 months ago, and I take my old content and I repost it. But right when I'm about to go and repost it, I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that sucks. I think I can do it so much better. So I basically just take the same content and I rewrite it to make it better. And then I repost it. And I'm like, when I look back at that content, I'm thinking like, no wonder that content didn't do well. It's because it doesn't make any sense. And now I know that. So something has changed within me from 6 months ago till now that I actually became a better content creator, right? So that's number one reason why. Number two reason why is because there's momentum, right? Whenever you stop, you have to think of it this way. Instagram is like a treadmill, okay? Once you stop posting, you're not just staying still, you're going down. Okay? So there's momentum. So what happens is when you're trying to grow and then you're tiny grow, like it grows like kind of like this, and then once momentum picks up, like it builds on top of each other, right? And then it's gonna grow exponentially. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna go slow, and then let's say within a month you give up. Now when you give up and you come back, now you gotta start from zero again. You have to do it again, and then you give up and you have to do it again. So imagine. Here's a great analogy I can give you. If you're not being consistent in Instagram and be consistent in anything is like this. Imagine you're riding a bike and you're standstill, right? And then when you start pedaling, it takes a lot of work to get started, right? And then once you start going, it's like the momentum picks up and it becomes easier. And you're like, now you're just coasting, right? And then you can get to where you want as long as you don't stop. But imagine you're like, you got going and then you stop. And then you're like, you start going and then you stop again. And you keep doing that over and over and over, right? When you're not being consistent, that's exactly what you're doing. You're starting and stopping. You're pedaling and then you stop. And you start pedaling again and you stop. So you're never getting to the point where you're building momentum. So, I mean, that's the best analogy I can use, I guess. Okay, so hey. I hope that was helpful. Let's go to the next question. All right, welcome Perbell Naturals, Fish Naples, Rodeo Castro. Welcome, Luis Chimas. Okay, next question is from Grow with Genesis. Hi, Genesis. Tips for not giving a fuck about what your family and friends think of you when sharing videos. That's kind of like, that's a good question. So if you want to not give a fuck about what your friends and family thinks about your content, the first thing you have to, the first thing you have to do is not give a shit about what they say in real life. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like so many people, here's the thing, like so many people keep their opinions, so many people keep their thoughts all in here, right? And when you do that, when you keep everything in here, what happens is you become passive aggressive. You become resentful first. You become passive aggressive. I want to say this, but I'm afraid they're gonna say, like, you're keeping everything in there. Don't do that, right? Just whatever you need to say, just say it. If you need to get into an argument with somebody, if I want, like, for example, whenever you're not speaking that, right? What happened when you censor yourself? For example, let's say you get into an argument with your mom, and then you kind of censor yourself, and like there's this tension building, right? This tension is building between you and your mom, and you're not talking about it. So there's something there, but you're not talking about it, and it just builds, and then that tension it rots inside you now, right? And it's not really fully going away. Next time if something happens again and that tension, and you're not talking about it, like you're kind of annoyed at each other, but you're not talking about it, that tension grows, and then there's a little, and once those like tiny little tensions that are rotten starts stacking up inside you one by one, that's when you start becoming resentful. That's when you start becoming like passive aggressive to that person, and it's the most toxic thing you can do. So whenever you feel you have your truth and it needs to be said with your friends or family, you need to go and say it, and you need to confront it head on. And what's going to happen is every time you're in disagreement with somebody, whenever there's that tension between you, you just confront it head on, and you're like, Mom, It really bothers me that whenever I do this, you judge me, and you do this, or hey, to a friend. It's like, it really bothers me when, whenever I'm like trying to make something of myself and trying to build my business and grow my, grow my business online, and you just make fun of me, and you kind of dismiss me. Like, it really bothers me, and you have to talk about it, right? And you have to be like, you might not think that it hurts my feelings, but it does hurt my feeling. And just be open about it and talk about it. And once you had that 5-minute uncomfortable conversation, now, like, and it just takes practice. I think you just have to say the thing that you're afraid to say, or the thing that is hard for that tough conversation, that thing that's hard for you to say. You have to do it once, and then, yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be cringy. It's gonna be awkward, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it more and more and more and more, and then you let all of that shit go, right? All that thing that's hidden inside you that you're like, you want to say but don't want to, haven't been saying, all that thing that's been rotting inside you, you just let it all go. Then it becomes easier and easier and easier to do it. So yeah, I think that's a really great question, and I think that's like a life lesson. I'm no life coach. I'm not some wise fucking guru or anything like that. But if I can give one, bit of advice, like, is that, because I live most of my life like that. I live most of my life not speaking something that I believe to be true, or not speaking up. So, and I know what that is like, right? I know what that's like. That's just a downward hill that you go into this like dark place, and what ends up happening is you keep all of that inside. What ends up happening is you start hating the whole world. You're like, it's me, everyone's out to get me. Like, I hate everyone. You start building resentment, and you become this angry teenager, like some fucking goth teenager who just hates the whole world, right? Like, you don't want to be that person. So let those things out, and just, and be completely okay with, somebody not liking you. Maybe that's the biggest thing. Actually, that is one of the things that I think social media, if you're making content, okay, I have something for you here. Okay, Genesis, you ready? Okay. If anything, let's say you don't want to grow your Instagram for your business. You don't give a shit about clients. You don't care about followers. You don't care about all of that. If anything, at the very least, think of it as doing it for yourself. It's a self-development, it's a personal development exercise. Because what ends up happening is, when you make content, it's going to teach you so many life lessons. For example, number one, it teaches you to be patient. Number two, it teaches you to be okay with not being liked. So many of us want to be liked by everyone. We can't handle the fact that even one person doesn't like us. Do you know what I mean? But when you start putting content out there, what you're going to realize, okay, first of all, 90% of the people, maybe 99% of the people, don't give a shit about you. And you start to realize that. And the more you realize that actually nobody gives a shit about me, number one, that's freeing, right? And then what you're going to realize, there's going to be a small percentage of people, maybe 10% of people, who actually hate you. And you're going to be okay with people hating you too. You have to be 100% okay with the fact that somebody hates you. Like, if you can't handle the fact that somebody hates you, you can't live life. Because whether you know it or not, there's somebody out there who already hates you. Do you understand what I mean? It's just that maybe you don't know about it. But what happens is the act of putting out content on social media actually makes you realize, because when people hate you, they're going to voice it. They're going to be like, you're a fucking idiot, son. It's like, yeah, like all the shit that they hate about you, they're going to tell you, like, So once you realize that people hate you and you're okay with that, it becomes easier. So I think just maybe it's like the practice of becoming okay with confrontation, right? Instead of pushing off confrontation, pushing off uncomfortable conversations, like, embracing it, like, bring it on, please bring it on. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Next question is, hello Elizabeth 2.0. Want to hear your framework for scripting reels within 60 seconds. Always too much content to squeeze in one reel. Hard to give too many examples or digress. Yeah, I mean, I don't make reels that way. The way I make reels is, for example, I'm gonna, I'm recording this entire 1 hour Q&A session, right? So my video editor is gonna take little clips from that and edit it. But if I were to just make reels myself, I think this is what I would do. I would think about what I want to say, and I would record it, and I'll just say it. Even if it takes me like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'll just let it all out. I think what happens is when you do that, your thoughts actually get, what happens is a lot of times when I'm on these live, I get a lot of my ideas during conversations like these. So while I'm in the middle of talking, my thought it's like, oh, actually, no, okay. Forget everything I just said. This is what, and then my brain starts connecting. I'm like, actually, yeah, no, this is what I actually wanted to say. Oh, okay, now I figure out an even more clear way to say it, and so on and so on. And so something like that, right? And one mistake that I make I did this a lot in the beginning days, is whenever I make a carousel or a video or Instagram story or something like that, I get carried, like, just like you said, right? It's hard to kind of limit where this is going, right? It's hard, like I'm like, oh, this is like this, and I have this example, it's like this example, and oh, and by the way, that's also related to this lesson, and there's this example, and that's also related to this, right? That's what happens. So what you need to do is, you have to get in the practice of, when you see yourself doing that, kind of take a pause, step back, maybe literally take a step back, and think about, okay, what is the one lesson that I want people to take away? Just one single lesson I want people to take away. And so your content is kind of like this entire kind of area. That's all the ideas that are related to that topic, right? And then right in the center, there's that one clear lesson that you want them to take away. And there's all these peripheral lessons and examples and things like that, right? And what we want to do is, we don't want people to be misunderstood. We don't want people to misunderstand us. We don't want people to be like, for example, when I posted that video about how, like, it's the introverts that have the biggest ego. It's because extroverts just go out and say whatever they want. They don't care. But what the introverts do is they're shy, so they kind of overthink everything and they don't say what they want to say. And it's because they care more about how they look. Extroverts don't care about if they look stupid. That's why they do it. Like when I made that video, right? I was just trying to make that one point, right? I was trying to make that one point of, if you're shy and you're introvert, that's not necessarily coming from the fact that it's not coming from humility. It's not necessarily coming, because real humility means you can look stupid and you're okay with it, right? But the reason why you're not saying it is because you don't want to look stupid. So that's not humility. That's actually insecurity, right? That's what I was actually trying to say, right? But then what happens is, I don't want to post that. Because why? Because introvert, it's not necessarily like that. Like, just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you're necessarily shy, right? Just because you're shy doesn't necessarily mean that you care a lot about what other people think, and that you don't want to look stupid. Like, it's not necessarily like that. So I know in my heart that if I don't talk about the whole context, and I just give this tiny little thing and I just say it, people are going to start attacking me. And that's what happened in that content. People started attacking me. They started commenting like, this fucking extrovert is an idiot. He doesn't know shit. Like, hey, just because you're introvert doesn't mean you're shy. Introversion has nothing to do with shyness and quiet, blah, 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 comment, right? People start coming at me, right? So that's what you're really scared of. The reason why you don't want to just cut your content down to that core is because you don't want that negative feedback. So what you need to do is you need to welcome that feedback and you need to be completely okay with it, and don't even respond to them because they don't know what you know. People attack me all the time and they try to correct me, they try to give me advice, and they try to tell me what I'm stupid, what I don't know, and all the time. Like, and 99.99% of the time, I'm looking at them, I'm reading those comments, I'm reading those things, I'm listening to them. I'm like, okay, you fucking think you know everything and you think that you're teaching me. But the reality is I already know what you know, and I know 10 steps ahead of it already. It's just that I'm not saying it back to you so that you can fucking feel smart. Okay. So trust me, it's you have to be okay with that. And you need to, that's actually a practice of like, okay, say your thing. Okay. I'll go along. Okay. You're smart. Okay, I'll go along. Just say it. But then don't let that bother you, right? And then that on the next post you can say the other part. All of this on the next post, say this. On the next post, say this. On the next post, say this. You telling me that you can't be consistent? Like okay, here's a myth true sandwich here, right there. Here. Okay, while I was talking here, I came up with the myth true sandwich. Here's the myth true sandwich. So on one hand, everybody says, I can't be consistent because I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about. So I don't have content idea. And then on the other hand, they're like, oh, how do I make what I want to say concise? Because I have too many examples, too many things, and too many related lessons, blah, blah, blah. Okay, why don't you do this? Why don't you take that complex idea and just say one tiny little thing out of that, and then next day say the other one, next day say the other one. What's happening is you're afraid of being judged, you're afraid of being misunderstood, you're afraid of leaving the nuance out, that you're making this long convoluted content. But what you need to do is, in your mind, you need to be okay that, like, don't feel like you need FOMO, don't feel like time is chasing you, right? You have all the time in the world to make unlimited content as you want. So after you've been putting out content a lot, what happens is, yeah, I have those haters who disagree with me. I have those haters who disagree with me, and they're trying to correct me, right? But I already know that, I already know what they're telling me. It's not that I don't already know. I couldn't fit it in that 30-second content. That's why I didn't say it. It's not that I don't know what they don't know, right? So I'm going to say it in the future, and I'm going to say it in the future, and so on and so on and so on. So by creating content, by keep putting out content, by keep going on IG Live, what it does is it gives you a platform to say all the things you want to say without the constraint of like being misunderstood. Because I don't give a fuck if that one person thinks they're smarter than me. If that one person thinks that they know more than me, I don't give a fuck. Because I'm just gonna prove them wrong in the next video. I'm gonna prove them wrong in the next 100 videos. And everybody else who's following me, who's watching my content, they all know that. It's just that one fucking idiot is the only one who doesn't know that. So why do I give a fuck about that one person, right? So, and that's, I guess that kind of relates to what I was saying about, do not care about one person. Do not care. Like you 100% have to be okay with people hating you. I don't know how else to say that, because I just feel like so many people are so emotionally hurt by being hurt by somebody hating them that it like literally stops them from doing something. But you just the sooner you accept that there are already people out there who hate you, the easier it's gonna get for you. Okay, I feel like I was on that topic for too long. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's move on. All right. Hi Hi, Camilla. Hi, Kyle. Exactly. It's like someone, you have to realize yeah. Yeah, it's like was it Kanye or Drake who said it? Like, if you don't have haters, you didn't make it. You know what I mean? Hi, Arthur Chow. Hi, I'm Realis Yoga. Okay, marketing affiliate. What is valuable content? How to create? Oh, I think I answered this one already. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question is from Virginia Villa. How do you end up deciding to write about teaching people ideas that would make them go, oh, I never thought of it that way? Was it a process? Was it based on conversation? Okay, I'm going to give you the entire story from beginning to end of how that came along. Okay, strap in, guys. Strap in, boys and girls. So when I worked in I worked in corporate job for like 6-7 years. Okay, I worked in a 9 to 5 corporate job for 7 years. And you might not believe me, but back then, like 15 years ago, I was the shyest person ever. Like, you would never hear a peep out of me. If I go into a meeting, in the beginning of the meeting, I'll say, "Oh, hello, everyone," and at the end, "Thank you, everyone. Bye." In between the meeting, I would not say one fucking word. Right? I was like, I had a lot of thoughts. I had a lot of idea. There's a lot of things I wanted to say, but I just didn't have the fucking balls to say it. Okay. So I kept my mouth shut, right? And at the end of the meeting, my boss will always go, "Any questions?" And literally nobody says anything, right? But I had a question. I had a question that was a very obvious question, right? And it was kind of a dumb question. And I'm thinking to myself, nah, I don't want to ask this. It's going to make me look stupid or something like that, right? But then when I asked that question, but then so I keep my mouth shut. And I'm like, and then somebody else will ask that same exact question. And as soon as they say that, everybody will be like, "Oh, I had the same question," or something like that, right? Now, fast forward a few years when I started my own agency, and I think it's fucking when we do these meetings or when we do this like classes or whatever it is, it's almost like it's in our nature. I don't know why. Maybe we're brainwashed, but every time we end the meeting, end the class, we have to say, "Anyone have any questions?" I don't know why. But that's what I do. I don't even care if they have questions or not, but I say that at the end of every meeting, right? So at the end of every meeting with my employees, I would say, "Anyone have any questions?" And same thing, literally, not a single person will raise their hand. Everybody's like, "No, no, no, we're good. Everything's good," right? And then 2 days later, I find out they do it the wrong way, and I'm like, "Why did you do it like that?" "Oh, because I thought this is what you wanted." I'm like, then why didn't you ask the fucking question in the meeting when I said, "Anyone have any questions?" Right? So that kept happening over and over and over, where people didn't ask questions, even though they didn't fully understand what I said. And that's kind of, and little news flash. That's exactly what's happening with you guys too. Like, whenever you're talking to somebody, whenever I'm talking to a group of people, just assume that person only understood 10% of what you said. Like, don't just automatically assume that just because you said it, they understood it. That's not how communication works. Okay. So what happened was, I'll say something and then they don't get it. And now I'm like, okay, instead of saying any questions, I assume that they didn't get it. I'm like, you probably didn't get that shit. So what I started doing is I started giving examples. I'll be like, "Oh, this is blah 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 blah." For example, okay. So maybe I'll say something like this. When a client sends when you send a design, make sure the client understands that they're getting this is what version of that. So for example, in the reply, on the subject line, write 1 of 3 revisions, and then in the email, make sure you write, this is the 3rd revision of whatever, blah 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 blah. So every time I explain anything, I would always end it with "for example," and I would give example. And sometimes, most of the times, I would give multiple examples. I would give an example. So that's what happened. So I kept saying that over and over and over and over and over again. And I guess that's kind of where it started. Because there's something about examples. Okay, maybe all of you guys try this next time. I don't know if this is just works for me or it'll work with everyone. But next time you're teaching anything, next time you're giving an advice, next time you're talking to anybody, end the sentence with "for example," and then try to give an example. I bet you after you give the example, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I get it now." Like that's what happened to me. Every time I say something, people will be like, yeah, yeah. And then I give an example. I'm like, for example, blah, 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 blah. And then after the example, they're like, oh, I get it now. Right? So that's what happens. Because nobody will, when somebody doesn't understand what you said, they're not going to admit that they didn't understand that. They're going to pretend like they're either going to act like they understood it, or they're going to think that they understood it when they really didn't. Right? So that's why you need to give examples. So that's kind of how it started. I never thought of it that way. I actually think so. It's a combination, right? Number one, I always give example. I hate teaching something without an example, and I hate it when I see people teach something without an example. Like somebody going like, "Oh yeah, don't like money's not gonna make you happy." Okay, that's it. No, if you're gonna say something like that, money's not gonna make you happy. Give me a fucking example so I know what that actually means. Okay, so that's step one. Whatever advice you give, always back it up with an example. If you can't back it up with an example, I'm gonna assume that you either don't know it yourself, you're just fucking repeating what somebody else said, or like you don't know how to explain it. So always back it up with example. Number two, I'm naturally a contrarian, right? Because I'm like I said in the other video, I'm like overthinker. I like to play devil's advocate, right? So I used to always get into debates with people. Every time somebody says something, I need to sit there and I love proving people wrong. I know that sounds fucking terrible, but I genuinely, naturally love proving people wrong. It's one of my worst fucking traits about me, but it's also one of the best traits about me, right? So it's something that I'm constantly struggling with, right? So how it hurts me is that I piss off all my friends because it doesn't matter what my friend says. I'm gonna disagree. It doesn't matter what you say. You can say the fucking sky is blue. You can fucking say, you can say that this mic is black. I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm gonna fucking disagree with it. I'm gonna fucking find a way to disprove what you said. Right? I don't know where that fucking ego and that stubbornness comes from. Like that needing to fucking always be right. But what happened was I recognized that was my ego. I recognized that was my ego. And what I started doing is, I'll get into an argument with my friend and I'll be like, yeah, oh yeah. And then I'll fucking argue with them and then blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, I'll win, right? I'll win the debate or I'll win the argument. But I still feel like shit, right? After winning the debate, I still feel like shit because there's a tension between, like I was saying before, there's this unspoken tension between us. That's still lurking there. That's rotting. And with every fucking relationship, when you're adding up those tensions, every time you get into this situation where you kind of like there's this unspoken tension there that's hanging in the air, that's adding up, that's stacking up. You're ruining that relationship little by little. Do you understand what I mean? So what happened was I had to be okay with not being right. So in that sense, it fucking hurts me. But in a way, how it helped me is because I'm able to come up with this. I never thought of it that way. So if you look at all of my content, it's just those things. Every fucking thing I say is just those two things. One, whatever you say, I'm gonna come up with, what's up, Franco? Whatever you say, I'm gonna come up with the counter argument for that, right? Doesn't matter what it is. It's like fucking like if I'm in debate class, right? Doesn't matter what you say, I'm gonna come up with the opposite statement of that. That's something that disagrees with. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give an example of how this my statement is true. Okay. So every time you take an existing statement and you come up with a contradicting statement about that, and you give an example of how I'm right, that's when people are gonna be say, "Oh fuck yeah, Kyle, I'm INTP." That's exactly what I am. But yeah, whenever you do that and you come up with a contradicting example and you um you give an example of how I can debunk that, every single time that's gonna make most people say, "I never thought of it that way." Most people, right? Not everyone. There's always gonna be some fucking smart ass out there, some kid who thinks he's fucking smarter than me, and they'll be like, "Yeah, like, don't worry about that." The reason why they're coming to your feed and commenting on your feed and trying to prove you wrong is because they don't have the fucking balls to make their own fucking content, right? So that's kind of how I think of it. Whenever somebody fucking comments on my content, or whenever somebody gives me criticism about something I'm doing, I'm like, you don't even have the fucking balls to do it for yourself. The only thing you want to do is fucking comment on other people's shit. Like, if you feel that strongly about it, if you think you're that smart, why don't you fucking go create content yourself? Why don't you fucking do it on your own feed rather than wasting time going on other people's fucking feed and picking at it? Nobody gives a fuck, okay? Like, it's kind of sad, actually. Okay, let's move to the next question. Porces Sarah Brew. Porsche Sarah Blue. I don't know. Okay, I feel more comfortable creating content for my personal brand than for my media company. But I want. Okay, I don't know. I'll tell you this, right? If you have an agency or if you have a company or if you have something like that, and you you don't think you need a personal brand or something, you don't know how your personal brand is going to help you, I'll tell you this, right? At the end of the day, nobody's coming to Night Owl, my agency. Nobody's coming to my agency because of some designer that works for us. Nobody's coming to my agency because some developer that works for us. The only reason why people are coming to my agency and hiring us is because of me. If I'm not there, like 90% of our clients probably wouldn't hire us. Okay? So that's kind of the power of personal brand. And you might not think so. You might be like, no, that means it's not really a business. That means it's not scalable. That means it's not, it's like, it's everything you have to control. No, that's not how it works. Like, do you think Tesla is scalable? But how much influence does fucking Elon Musk have in Tesla, right? And that's just the thing. When somebody goes to a big agency or law firm, yeah, when a company hires a law firm, they're not expecting the top partners of that law firm to be working on their fucking case. That's not what they're expecting. But they're still going there because they trust that the people on the top, they trust that they've created an organization that they stand by. So what you're doing, really, it doesn't matter if you're creating a company, a company with 10 people, 100 people, 10,000 people, it doesn't matter. That company is going to follow the thought leadership of the person on the top. That's why it's so important for you to build a personal brand, and you exert yourself as a thought leader, somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing in this space. And then when you hire people and you're building an organization, people now in turn trust your organization, right? So yeah, put it that way. Feel more. So there is literally no distinction between building your personal brand and building a company brand. When I would actually argue that you don't even have to focus on building a company brand. Just focus everything on building a personal brand, and your company brand it'll automatically happen. For example, you think Kylie Jenner's followers, Kylie Jenner fans who are buying all those Kylie cosmetics, lipsticks that made Kylie Jenner a billionaire, do you think those customers would have bought it if it wasn't for Kylie Jenner? Like, the whole reason is because of Kylie Jenner. And that's just how it's going to work. And that's just going to become more and more extreme as time goes on. Okay, let's see. Let's do a couple more. DDRIFD. How do you feel getting followers from all over the world? I love it. I love it because, if you're in Night Owl Nation, in our community, we literally have people from all over the world, and it's so diverse that what you start to see is as different we are in different cultures, different language, different religion, different everything. At the end of the day, we're all human, and humans are fucking humans. You know what I mean? Like, you might, it's like when we look at a fucking golden retriever and look at another golden retriever, and we're like, oh, they're so different. But no, they're at the end of the day fucking the same. Okay, they're not that different. And as humans, we're not that different from each other. We all have the same fucking insecurities. We all have the same fucking problems. We all have the same fucking ego, no matter where you go in the world, right? So I love that. But what I love more than anything is this. Whenever I work with clients and whenever I, work with people who sell information products, online courses, coaching, whatever it is, and they run Facebook ads, right? When people run Facebook ads and Google ads, nobody wants to target India, like Southeast Asia, Colombia, Nigeria. They don't want to target those countries. And the reason why they don't want to target those countries is because they don't want to spend the ad revenue. They don't want to spend ad money getting attention from that audience, because that audience to them is not worth that. It doesn't have a return on investment, right? Because they're selling a fucking $1,000 course. They're selling a $2,000 course, and like, that's more than a fucking year's salary in those countries, right? So if they start selling their high ticket courses by running ads in those countries, they're gonna have a loss in terms of their ad spend. So what I see people do is whenever they're running ads, they make sure to, okay, US, North America, Europe, Australia, they only pick markets that are developed country that has a average household income of certain number and up. So what happens? In our community, one of the things that I love the most is that we have people in our community that are from Nigeria, Colombia, India, Pakistan, Egypt, that have never ever had this kind of training before. That's never ever had like this kind of coaching. They've never had this like level of courses, mentorship, things like that. So they never had access to something like this, because something like this costs fucking thousands of dollars and they cannot afford it. So I love the fact that I'm able to provide this level of education and this level of mentorship to people who's never had access to it. And what's even better is if I can show that person in Pakistan just how to make $2,000 a month. Like in United States, if I can show somebody how to go online, Instagram, and make $2,000 a month, like, that person doesn't give a fuck. That $2,000 a month, to them, it's fucking lunch money. Do you understand what I mean? Like, they're not grateful. It didn't change their life. It's just like, okay, now I can make my fucking payments for my Mercedes. That's it. But a $2,000 a month for somebody that's living in India is literally life-changing. It's like literally life-changing for them. And that's what I fucking love, right? I'm not here to fucking I'm not here to sell people who are like making $100,000 a year and help them make $200,000 a year. I don't want to help somebody who's making $1 million a year help them make $2 million a year. That's not what I'm interested in. I want to help that person who's making $100 a month make $2,000 a month. because that it's literally life changing. That's actually life saving. Do you understand what I mean? So that's actually what I love the most about having having followers from all over the world. I see so many people. I see so many creators out there who has audience from all over the world, right? But that they're not. Are they truly serving them? I don't think so. Because if they were truly serving them, they wouldn't have fucking $500 a month products. They wouldn't have $5,000 products. They wouldn't have fucking $20,000 mentorship if they were truly trying to serve them. I don't believe that they're truly serving them, in my opinion. I think they're serving themselves. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, picture Hubzin. How can you vlog as an introvert to represent your personal brand? Okay, so as an introvert, you should never don't ever like try to be Gary Vee, right? Don't try to come on and be like, "What's up, everybody? My name is Sun, and today I'm going to talk about them. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to show you how. Hey, put your name in there. Blah, 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 blah." Like, don't do that, because sometimes I watch. Sometimes I watch like Chris Do do that. Some like I don't know if you guys know who Chris Do is, but what I love about Chris Do is when he's sitting there and he's doing those role plays, or he's teaching, and he's like really analytically breaking shit down, and like, and he's asking those questions, and he's very calm, right? In those moments, he's like, he's like this wise man who's like, so what do you think that is? Oh, so when a client asks you that, what does that mean, right? When he's so calm and collected, and he's being very, very thoughtful in what he says, like, that's, for me, that's him at his best. Okay, that's like literally Crystal at his best, and there's nothing more fucking mesmerizing, and there's nothing more charismatic than when he's doing that shit. But sometimes I see him coming on YouTube Live or something like that. He's like, "What's up, everybody?" Blah, 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 blah. I see him doing that thing, and I'm sitting there watching, going like, oh my god, that's so hard to watch. That's so cringy to watch, right? Because it's so unnatural. It just doesn't feel like him at all. And I can totally see that he's putting on this mask, right, for the audience. So whenever you're doing something where it's not truly you, it's not gonna work. So if you're an introvert, you want to come on video, you have to show up as yourself. And if you're not comfortable on video, like in the beginning, I was so uncomfortable doing this, right? Just fucking staring at the green dot and just talking to my. I'm basically like, think about it, right? I'm sitting in this fucking room. There's nobody here. Like, there's literally nobody here, and I'm fucking talking to myself, right? Like, if somebody saw me just like passing by and saw me like this and talking to myself, they'll probably be like, "Who's this? Like, this guy's fucking crazy, right? Like, I'm some fucking crazy guy in the street, like talking to myself." That's what That's what I look like right now, right? So I used to be so uncomfortable doing this. So, but how I got comfortable at it is, in the beginning, I always went on IG Live with somebody else, and I just genuinely have a conversation, right? And then I went on. I record podcasts where I'm genuinely having a conversation, and that becomes my content. And if somebody's recording me, like, I'm not just looking at the camera and like somebody's recording and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Blah 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 blah. I rather have somebody ask me a question and I'll answer it to the camera, or I rather have a conversation with somebody while somebody's recording me. So start like that. Start as you normally would. Just have a conversation with people and record it, rather than trying to talk to the camera. And then after you get comfortable, you'll get there. I want to see if I can do one more. I feel like I'm in the zone, so I just want to. Let me find a good one. I'm gonna try to find a good question. Okay. Man, there's so many good ones. Okay, let me start with this one. Okay, Ogulua. Consistency versus ads, what works? So this is what I recommend for every one of my client. Okay. So when you're putting out organic content, like on Instagram, YouTube, and whatever it is, that's your investment. So you're not gonna make money. Like, let's say you just start Instagram today, you start YouTube today, you start TikTok today. I can pretty much guarantee you that you're not gonna make money within a year. I can pretty much guarantee you that. Unless you're like the fucking most amazing creator in the world and you literally make 0.1% of the top content, unless you know how to do that, the other 99.9% of people, you're not going to make money this year, okay? If you're starting. But you still have to invest that time. Even though you're making zero money, and this is why this is so hard. This is why almost nobody succeeds in this game, right? Like it's such a few number of people succeed in this game because they don't understand this. So few people, like in the beginning, you make zero money and you have to keep putting out content. You have to keep putting out content. You have to keep putting out content, even though you're not making money, right? And then maybe after a year, and maybe after 6 months to a year, then you'll actually start attracting and you'll make money, right? But in the meantime, you still have to sell. You still have to be in business, right? So what you do is you start running ads in the beginning. So what I tell my clients, and I'm not talking about fucking making money like, yeah, you can fucking get a couple of coaching clients and you can make money that way. I'm talking about real money, like making real money, right? So what you have to do is in the beginning, you have to pay for ads and you have to run ads to get that initial set of traffic while you're building your audience, right? But then once your audience gets to a certain point, now you can stop paying for ads and you can just get organic traffic. And that's how everybody should be doing. The problem is most people don't have the grit and the patience to keep creating that. Like, do you know how hard it is? Like, maybe, you know what? Oh, I'll answer this real quick. What advice would you give on how to deal with copycats? Don't let them copy. You can't stop them, right? I actually welcome people to copy my content. I want people to take what we're doing at Night Owl Nation and replicate it and try to do it, right? Because here's the thing. Here's why I don't think I give a shit about copycats, right? There's two ways you can run a business, right? You can run a business in a way that you find something that works and you copy it and you just fucking try to hide it and hog it as much as you can. And I don't want anybody to know this. And then it's a secret. Okay, if that's your whole business, as soon as somebody else starts doing it, your whole business is over, right? I feel that, so many people come to me and give me advice about Night Owl Nation. Like, they're like, "Oh, hey, you should do this in Night Owl Nation. Oh, like this person did this, and you should do this." And they're basically trying to get me to replicate some other success that someone else had. And I'm like, okay, like if all I'm doing is just copying what somebody else did, then like what is the differentiator of my business? As soon as somebody else copies mine and just makes it a little cheaper, my business is over, right? So that's not a right way to run a business. Like, the reason why I'm constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly improving my product is it doesn't matter. You can copy Night Owl Nation, you can copy whatever I do, but by the time you copy it, I'm already going to be 2 steps ahead of you. And then by the time you copy that, I'm going to be 2 steps ahead of you. By the time you copy that, I'm going to be 2 steps ahead of you. I'm always going to be 2 steps ahead of you. So you can try to copy my business all you want. You can try to copy my content all you want. You know what? One thing you'll never copy? You'll never copy my brain. So there you go. Okay, so I guess I don't know what I was saying talking about before when I was talking about the ad thing with the content. But yeah, I just want to end it with this. Like, nothing in the world is going to beat consistency. So no matter what you do, like, no matter what you're trying to be good at, just understand that. Like if you can't here's what I want to say. I posted that content before where there's ups and downs, right? And there's highs and lows in business, right? There's highs and lows in life. There's highs and lows in everything. The difference is that in life, you can't just give up on life, right? When life is not going your way, you just gotta fucking stick it through the lows and survive that, right? Like, I mean, otherwise, it's literally like you're gonna end your life, right? So that's obviously not the way to go. But what happens is in business, the same thing happens. Like when your business is growing, your emotion is going through a roller coaster. There's highs. Like as soon as you start your business, you know what happens? Like you have this fucking delusional hope, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm awesome, and this is gonna be great. Oh, so many people are congratulating me. Everyone, all my friends are coming like, good job, son. Like, good job, good luck with your business. Blah, 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 blah. And then reality hits, and then a few months goes in, and then like the sales don't come in, and then now reality hits, and then you're actually down here. Like emotionally, you're all the way down here. And you feel like depressed, you feel like fucking so down, you feel like nothing is working. Maybe this was never meant to be. Am I fucking wasting my time? Is this fucking working? Every video that I put is only getting 5 views. Like that, we go to that point, right? At that point is when people give up. That's where everyone gives up. Okay, but what happens is, if you can survive that point and you keep going, another peak is going to come, right? And then when that peak comes, and at some point, it's going to hit the low point again. And it's going to go high point, low point, high point, low point. But I just want you to know this, right? Those ups and downs, it doesn't really represent reality. Reality, while you're emotionally, your emotion is going up and down and up and down and up and down roller coaster. Underneath all of that, your business is growing. Maybe it's growing. Maybe sometimes it's growing faster. Sometimes it's growing. Sometimes it's growing faster. Sometimes growing. Right? But it's still making progress. Do you understand what I mean? While this is happening. So a good example is like sometimes I go through months where like fucking TEDx is coming to ask me to speak. Some conference is coming to ask me to speak. Some fucking big creator is like asking me to come on their podcast, and fucking everybody's signing up. Everybody telling me how amazing I am. Blah, 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 blah. And then I'll go through months where like it's like zip. Nobody's asking me to do anything. Nobody's asking out. Like actually, and people are fucking complaining about my content. People at Night Owl Nation is complaining. All of that shit, right? And then now I'm going through this emotional roller coaster, downtime, right? And then again, like up will come. But what's happening is that's not reality. That's just my emotion. That's my feeling, right? So to be honest with you, I'm actually going through a low point in my life right now. I'm going through one of those valleys, right? You might not. Like when you look at me, you probably don't even realize that I'm going through a valley right now. You're probably looking at me like, oh, sun's killing it, blah, 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 blah. But right now, I'm actually one of those. I fucking feel like shit. Every day I feel like shit. Every day I feel like I want to fucking give up. Every day I feel like I want to fucking go to that bed and fucking cry and fucking like, oh, that thing is working. That's what I want to do right now. But I don't. Because I've gone through this valley so many times now that I know that I'll figure it out. I know that I'm gonna get out of it. I literally have a fucking 1,000 different fires. I have I literally have 1,000 different problems that people are fucking messaging me about, like from my employees, from my fucking team, from my family. Like I have a million fucking shit on my mind right now, and I just feel like I'm down here. But I want you guys to understand that happens to everyone, and you just have to have faith that you're gonna go up. And actually, these lives, this Sunday service I come on, like me making content, actually for me it has been much more therapeutic. It actually is the one thing that keeps me going when I just want to give up. So have hope, because once you start putting out content, once you start really connecting with the audience, and once you really start building a community and things like that, on those lowest moments of your life, it's that audience, it's that community that's going to keep you going. So yes, Genesis, the dip is temporary. Thank you all for, I'm reading your chat. Thank you so much for all your encouraging words. Thank you so much for being here. I love all of you guys. Please come back next Thursday, and I will see you next week. Cheers. Bye.